بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستهديه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا إنه من يهديه الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Inshallah, we'll continue with the seerah of the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam and the seerah of Sayyidina Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam. And as we remember, and as you will see, subhanallah, the best or one of the good ways of talking about the seerah of the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam is from the Quran. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has revealed to the Prophet Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam a lot of the part of the lives of the prophets before him. So to give him ta'ziyah wa tasliyah, to give him like some form of showing him what has been happening to the prophets before Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam, and to also show us the seerah of the other prophets so we can assimilate to what they do. And it is important to see in their seerah, unlike what we know about the seerah of the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam, a lot of the thing from his companions, his wives, and everything. So we know a lot of the details in the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam. When we talk about the other prophets, we don't have that much information as we know from the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam. So the best way to look into their lives is about what the Quran has described them, what Allah has described them, and then take it piece by piece and see how that was important in our lives and how the Prophet ﷺ was giving that so we can learn from that. In the Quran, بعد أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم, Allah is describing Sayyidina Ibrahim in very like three specific characteristics in one ayah. Inna Ibrahim, which is inna for the confirmation. Kana, another confirmation. Kana ummatan qanitan lillahi hanifa walam yakun min al-mushrikeen. And we talked last time in some depth about the tawheed, about monotheism, and that how Allah has described Sayyidina Ibrahim in more than one occasions in the Quran about the tawheed and the kinds of tawheed and all that, and being very far from the mushrikeen. This ayah, subhanallah, is saying كان أمة قانتا لله حنيفا ولم يكن من المشركين. We talked a little bit last time about the meaning of ummah, and we talked about hanifan. So this time inshallah we'll talk specifically about the meaning of qanitan lillah. Qanit. What is the meaning of qanit lillah? And subhanallah, when we read the Quran, including everybody reading the Quran, subhanallah, when we say ummatan qanitan lillahi hanifan walam yakun min al-mushrikeen, we pass by it. And subhanallah, it is a depth in our necks to actually at least know and have some understanding about how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has described these specific comprehensive meaning. Qanitan, the meaning of qanit is, and we know dua al-qunut, when we are standing up and doing qunut, subhanallah, during the azamat and the shada'id and all this. So the meaning of qanit, they say the one who is always standing with all the ta'ah of Allah. So always doing ta'ah to Allah all the time. Al-qa'im bima amarahu Allah ta'ala. Whatever Allah has described in all the times, he is always doing it, subhanallah, all the time. And Ibn Mas'ud has a meaning of it that he is always yaqum bi ta'atillah, always making the ta'ah of Allah in all the times, whether in his sleep or his wake or his fasting, is his walking, everything, subhanallah. So this meaning of qanit lillah, all the time. قُلَّ إِنَّ صَلَاتِي وَنُسُكِي, all the time that I'm alive, whether I am praying or doing any ritual or even my life, my death is for Allah. And the other ulama has mentioned three other meanings of it. We don't need to go through that. In short, the meaning of it is always making ta'ah ila Allah and always making dua ila Allah. So have this intention in his life all the time. What is it I'm doing this? And the dua of Allah and this and that and all that. So we'll give some description to that so we can understand qanitan lillah, the qunut ilallah. As he started, he was always make da'wah for his people, for tawheed and letting the idols and going to the ibadatullah. So all this is qanitan lillahi. He was standing among his people to ask them for ibadatullah and leaving the idols and leaving everything that is other than Allah. And then when they started to make azah for him and throw him in the hellfire and throw him in the fire and throw him in all these kinds of torture, he was still have the ibadah ilallah and have the ta'ah ilallah. And we talked about his talk with Jibreel, that for you I don't have any need, but for Allah, yes. Always needing the worship to Allah and always having this dull ilallah. And then after that, after he was asking his people and being thrown into the fire and asking his father, Adar, to make the ibadah ilallah and all this, then when nothing was going on, he was giving the order to migrate to the Sham, right? So he left all his place and all his country and all his family and people and all this, subhanallah, and was ordered to migrate to the Sham. So this is qunut ilallah, that I'm leaving everything behind because Allah has ordered me to go. So all these sequences of events, subhanallah, makes you understand that all his life, nothing but qunut ilallah, having this ibadah all the time in his life, in his migration, in asking his people, even during the time that he was thrown into the fire and all that. And that's how we see, subhanallah, the difference in the Quran, how Allah has given him all the shukr about what he did when he was asked to migrate. And in another situation, subhanallah, in Sayyidina Yunus, how Allah made itab for him, that he was thrown into the whale, into the depth of the ocean, because he said, like, my people are not going to be getting Muslim or mu'min or anything, I'm leaving. And we know what happened in the بطن الحوت and his dua, لا إله إلا أنت سبحانك إني كنت من الظالمين فلولا إنه كان من المسبحين للبث في بطنه إلى يوم يبعثون. Except that he was from the people who is making tasbih and all that, he would have stayed in the tummy of the whale until the end of time. But for subhanallah Sayyidina Ibrahim, he was giving that it was the best thing, that he was always no thinking, immediately make the hijrah. And we connect that with the hijrah of the Prophet ﷺ, the same thing. He grew up and everything in his family and his people, uncles and everything, subhanallah, and giving the order to just leave the Mecca and all this and go to Medina, a new place. And he kept looking, where can I go? And Ta'if and all these places, subhanallah, getting thrown and getting bleeding by all the kids and the people who were insanity and all this, subhanallah. The same level of the migration. Allah, if he wants to have izzah and he wants to have somebody to be purified, he has to make sure, subhanallah, that he is going to be taken from everything that he loves. And we know the tests of the Sayyidina Ibrahim, one after another, and all the time he is steadfasting on ta'atillah. And subhanallah, Allah is always telling us when he does that, what would be happening. فَلَمَّا, subhanallah, and Surah Maryam, فَلَمَّا أَعْتَزَلَهُمْ وَمَا يَعْبُدُونَ. As soon as he left his people and what they were worshipping, and he responded to Allah immediately about the migration to Sham and leaving his people behind, subhanallah, فَلَمَّا اعْتَزَلَهُمْ وَمَا يَعْبُدُونَ مِن دُونِ اللَّهِ وَهَبْنَا لَهُ إِسْحَاقَ وَيَعْقُوبَ وَكُلًّا جَعَلْنَا نَبِيًّا. Subhanallah, as soon as he left and migrated and left his people that they did not and responded to what Allah has ordained him to do, subhanallah, we have given him Ishaq wa Yaqub wa kullan ja'alna nabiyya, subhanallah, and both of them we made them prophets, subhanallah. So not just another like offspring after Ismail, we also gave him other kids, all of them will be prophets, subhanallah. So all the nasl of the Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam became prophets as well, subhanallah. Sayyidina Ismail, Sayyidina Ishaq, Sayyidina Yaqub. وَوَهَبْنَا لَهُم مِّن رَحْمَتِنَا وَجَعَلْنَا لَهُمْ لِسَانَ صِدْقٍ عَلِيًّا. Subhanallah. So all this mercy from Allah, as soon as he migrated and left his. So you have to know that what have you ever left for the sake of Allah, Allah always will give you much more in this life as well. Subhanallah. This is very important. And we know, فَلَا تَعْلَمُ نَفْسٌ مَا أُخْفِيَ لَهُم مِّن قُرَّةِ أَعْيُنٍ. And then the jaza and all the reward for that, inshallah, in the akhirah is much more. But you also will see that even in all the testing of Sayyidina Ibrahim, alayhi salatu wasalam. And then after that, and after the migration and going all the way to Sham and all that, he was giving another order to leave his wife and Sayyidina Ismail also in, subhanallah, in at that time during the area like Zamzam and in Mecca and by the Kaaba, subhanallah. Another order to purify. You left your people and now you have to leave your wife and leave Sayyidina Ismail and all that in a place nobody was there, just to see where is your iman, where is your tawakkul on Allah, where is your thabat, are you following or not, where is your heart. And subhanallah, you can imagine if you have your wife and child and all this, and subhanallah, you get an order, leave them there and go, just go back hundreds of miles, leave everything behind, subhanallah. So all this, and the Sahih al-Bukhari, that his wife at that time and Sayyidina Ismail, when she was left by Sayyidina Ibrahim, Sayyidina Muna Hajar asked him, so she followed him and found nothing. It was just desert and nothing was there. And then said, Ya Ibrahim, أين تذهب وتتركنا بهذا الوادي? Where are you going, leaving us in this valley? There is nothing here. And subhanallah, he did not respond. And they said, like in the Sahih, that he did not even look, subhanallah, because he doesn't want to have any weakness in his heart. As soon as he look to his son and wife, subhanallah, he may have weakness, he may cry and all this, subhanallah, and feel all this conflict. He did not have that. He's just continued to walk, not even looking behind, subhanallah. فقالت له ذلك مرارا, and she continued to ask, Ya Ibrahim, Ya Ibrahim, where are you going, leaving us here? Ya Ibrahim, where are you going, leaving us here? This means like almost, subhanallah, in her mind, we're going to die here. There is no means. It's not like we have water and a tent and all that and we'll survive. There is nothing, subhanallah. So he did not look at her, not even change his direction. And then until she asked, Allahu amaraka bihada? And then she started to think, maybe this is an order from Allah. And he did not tell her all this time, I'm leaving you here because it's an order from Allah. And that's the only response. He said, Na'am. Subhanallah, yes. Allah has ordered me, subhanallah. And she said, إِذَنْ لَا يُضَيِّعْنَا أَبَدًا. Allah will never leave us alone, subhanallah. Subhanallah, this is a lesson that we should have like above everything, like as a panel, like in front of us. Raise that Allah will never let you go astray if you follow what He wanted you to do, subhanallah. No matter what are the causes or the asbab or the means or anything that He left you at. If you follow what He told you, then إِنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يُضَيِّعْنَا أَبَدًا. Allah will never let us go astray, subhanallah, as long as you have this iman in your heart. This is a huge lesson from Sayyidina Ibrahim and Sayyidina Hajar, subhanallah, during a time of like when you have nothing, but you have the full tawakkul ala Allah. And subhanallah, after that time and after this dua, they say that he went to the Thaniya, so she did not see him. All this, he walked all the way. There is no vision of them anymore. And then he turned back for the first time and then made the dua that is up to this day, subhanallah, in the Quran. People reading them all the way until the end of time, subhanallah. ربنا إني أسكنت من ذريتي بواد غير ذي زرع عند بيتك المحرم ربنا ليقيموا الصلاة فاجعل أفئدة من الناس تهوي إليهم. Subhanallah. Oh Allah, I have let my family stay on your Bayt al-Muharram. They have nothing. They are to yuqimu salah, so they can make the salah. So make a lot of people come, and when he mentioned people here, subhanallah, he say hearts. And subhanallah, when you go to Umrah or Hajj, you don't go by yourself. You leave your heart there. Wallah al-Azim, everybody who goes there or not go there, they know that feeling that your hearts is by the Kaaba, subhanallah. You don't have anything. We face that Kaaba all the time and make the salah, but your heart is always connected to the Kaaba, subhanallah. فَاجْعَلْ أَفْئِدَةً مِّنَ النَّاسِ تَهْوِي إِلَيْهِمْ. Subhanallah. Make their hearts go there, subhanallah. So we have no hearts here. We have the hearts there, subhanallah. And this is basically da'wah to Ibrahim. This is his dua that he put at that time, subhanallah, asking Allah, make the hearts of people go to them, subhanallah. And subhanallah, وَارْزُقْهُم مِّنَ الثَّمَرَاتِ لَعَلَّهُم يَشْكُرُونَ, and give them all the thamarat, give them all the rizq. Maybe they will be thankful, and hopefully they will be thankful, the people who go there, subhanallah. And you see how the khair and all the everything that the Saudi area has and all this, subhanallah, from the thamarat in the middle of the desert, all this, subhanallah. So this is the qunut. This is qanitan lillah. All his life is nothing but ibadah wa ta'a ilallah, and following without questioning, subhanallah, whether he's leaving all his people and go in migration to the Sham, leaving his wife and a newborn and all that, leaving them in the middle of the desert, subhanallah, being thrown into the hellfire, standing up to all the community and standing up to all his people with the asnam and saying, فَعَلَهُ كَبِيرُهُمْ هَذَا, this is the one who broke them, and breaking, taking action into his hands, subhanallah. Just one, subhanallah, adolescent at that time, not even fully, like they said, like less than 20 years old. وأرنا مناسكنا وتب علينا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم رب اجعلني مقيم الصلاة ومن ذريتي ربنا وتقبل دعاء. All the dua that we see in the Quran from Sayyidina Ibrahim, this is the qunut. This is when you stand up and make the qunut and make the dua. This is basically his life. Nothing he will take a step except making dua. رب اجعلني مقيم الصلاة ومن ذريتي ربنا اجعل أفئدة من الناس تهوي إليهم. All this dua, subhanallah. رب اجنبني وبني أن نعبد الأصنام. So no movement from his life except with dua, connection with Allah, subhanallah. This is qanitan lillah. This is the meaning of it. Like all your life, you're just remembering Allah and making dua and connecting, subhanallah. And we have seen during the zabh all this time, and then Sayyidina Ismail, and he grew up, and after all this, the oldest among him, and he helped him bina al-Kaaba and all this, and then Sayyidina Ismail, subhanallah, become like as his like helper, and subhanallah, and then again asking him, slaughter your son, subhanallah. How many times that Sayyidina Ibrahim has been tested and tested and tested and tested, subhanallah, and he has nothing. As soon as he gets the order, immediately, okay, I'm gonna slaughter him. Okay, I'm gonna leave them in the desert. Okay, I'm gonna leave my country and my people and my father, and subhanallah. Okay, I'm gonna do this. Okay, I'm gonna break the asnam. Subhanallah. This is qanitan lillah, the frequently of always being by himself, making dua, making sabr, making jihad, no resilience, subhanallah, all the time. So this is one of the things that, subhanallah, in this ayah, al-qunut lillah. I want to, inshallah, touch also on another meaning that is very important for us to understand, that, subhanallah, we, most of the time, and this is, they say at the Hanifiyya, and we talked about Hanifan, that he is ma'ilan ila al-Islam. So he is deviating from all the routes except the route of the Islam. And the ulama say in this meaning, the route of Islam is the wasatiyya, being in the middle, between batil in both ways, subhanallah. So making sure that he is in the middle way of Hanifa. And this is the Sirat al-Mustaqim. Not this way and not that way, subhanallah. And the Quran also is telling us that you can never attain this Sirat al-Mustaqim or Hanifiyya by going back and forth between different ways. ما جعل الله لرجل من قلبين في جوفه. Allah will never make anybody with having two hearts, like I'm going to be here and going to be there. And give us in the Quran the description of the hypocrites, the munafiqeen. He's saying, what is the description of the Quran? مذبذبين. They are always oscillating, always making hesitant between this and that. مذبذبين. بين ذلك لا إلى هؤلاء ولا إلى هؤلاء. Subhanallah. They cannot even stay on one direction. Sometimes here and sometimes there. Subhanallah. لا إله هؤلاء ولا إله هؤلاء ومن يضلل فلن تجد له سبيلا إن المنافقين في الدرك الأسفل من النار. And this is what happened to the people who continue to have two faces and all that. And subhanallah, so this is what is important. Another thing, inshallah, to mention also is the the life of the Hanifiyya and what Sayyidina Ibrahim during the long hadith of Shafa'ah, that there was no sins in his life, subhanAllah. The only thing when the people came, and this is hadith sahih, asking all the prophets about, okay, make the shafa'ah. And subhanAllah, Sayyidina Ibrahim, the only thing in this hadith, and this is hadith sahih, قال نبينا صلى الله عليه وسلم لم يكذب إبراهيم النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم قط إلا 3 كذبات 2 في ذات الله وواحدة في شأن سارة. Subhanallah. And this is hadith sahih, that all Sayyidina Ibrahim has done in his life is the 3 lies that he mentioned, and it is for the sake of Islam and for the sake of Allah. 2, when he said, Inni saqim, I am sick, so he didn't go to them, so having the intention to break the idols, subhanallah. And the other one, when they asked him who did this, he said, بل فعله كبيرهم هذا. This is the one that he did. فاسألوهم, subhanallah. This is the biggest idol, the one with the axe. He broke them, subhanallah. These are the 2 lies he did all his lives. And then the third one about the Sayyidah Sarah, when she was him and migrating and going to the man that was gonna take all the women and kill the men. He told her to tell him that I'm your son. And subhanallah, at that time he was the only Muslim and with her, subhanallah. So it's not, as you see, it is not even lies in our minds. This is for the sake of Allah. But this is the only thing in the Sahih that he made, subhanallah. 3 كذبات. So it is important to shed light on that for the sake of clarity. And we know what happened in the Ibadat al-Asnam and all this in the Hanifa and all this, subhanallah. Shukr an'umillah. This is the last thing, inshallah, that Allah has described him, inshallah, if I have just 5 minutes, that Allah described him in the ayah after that shakiran li'an'umihi. Shakiran li'an'umih. That Allah has mentioned that Sayyidina Ibrahim is thankful for the an'um. And the an'um here is in sigha. In Arabic language is like the smallest thing. So in meaning that Sayyidina Ibrahim was making all the thanks to Allah in the small and the large, anything that he has. And subhanallah, we know from the Quran in Surah Ibrahim, وَإِن تَعُدُّ نِعْمَةُ اللَّهِ لَا تُحْصُوهَا إِنَّ الْإِنسَانَ لَظَلُومٌ كَفَارٌ. If you would to count the blessings of Allah on you, you will never reach to know how many are they. Subhanallah, because the insan is zalumun kafar. He is always ungrateful and always yakfur, covering things about what has been given to me, and kind of like, oh, this is me, I taught this, I learned about this, I got this because of work, and all, subhanallah, kafar all the time, without knowing that all of this is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But Ibrahim, when Allah described him in the Quran, he said, shakiran li'an'umih. So we can retain this, that this is among the characteristics that can raise your rank, subhanallah, without anything, not even with the doing salah or anything, just to have this gratitude in your heart for shukr, for Allah, for everything that you have. Inshallah, I'll mention few things about the shukr. The ulama saying the shukr has 3 parts. Inshallah, we'll conclude with that. The abd, the slave, cannot be having shukr to Allah except with 3 small things that you will have. Inshallah, try to retain that. First, you have to know and acknowledge, I have this ni'mah. For example, I have the ni'mah of having good health. Alhamdulillah, I acknowledge that. The second thing, saying Alhamdulillah, that Alhamdulillah, being grateful for the ni'mah of that all the time. Subhanallah, shakirun lan'umi. I have the sihha. When you see somebody, Alhamdulillah alladhi afana. Alhamdulillah, I have the sihha. I don't care about the money. I have this. I don't care about, I don't have children. I have the sihha. So always have this in your head, subhanallah, and then thankful to Allah. The third part, putting it to the ta'ah of Allah. So put this ni'mah specifically for the ta'ah of Allah. So if you have sihha, if you have good brain, if you have good management skills and all that, put it for the sake of Allah. What can I do today to serve this? What can I do? And then subhanallah, do the whole thing. The ulama saying, إِن تَعُدُّوا نِعْمَةَ اللَّهِ لَا تَحْصُوهَا. But you can make addil ni'mah. You will never reach the count of it. But you can remember and ponder and make all this tadakkur in, I have the sihha. I have some money that is enough. I never been sleeping this. I have, subhanallah, my kids are asahha. Not only that, they have ta'a ilallah. Not only that, this, my wife is this. And subhanallah, there is no end to that. There is no end, whatever you can think. Wallahi, there is no end. But at least having this gratitude so we can follow the steps of shakiran li'an'umi of Sayyidina Ibrahim. Shakiran li'an'umi, subhanallah. This is how Allah made thana for Sayyidina Ibrahim, shakiran li'an'umi, in the Quran. And subhanallah, the shukr in the language, they say shakarat ad-dabba. Shakarat ad-dabba meaning that it showed, that it became full and became like fat a little bit because she is eating and it shows on her. So they say shakarat ad-dabba. The camel or the animal or something showed shukr because it shows on them. So that's exactly, it should show on you. It should show that you are grateful. You have this, what they call in this common language, you have a good vibe of like being grateful. You always have like all this positive energy. We hear about that, right? But subhanallah, most of the time we can be ubbad and everything and coming and you see somebody who's like gloomy and kind of like everything like it's not working out and I'm having hard time, and subhanallah. So, and it's okay every once in a while to have that, but you have to have the shukr, the gratefulness to Allah in everything. The Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam, we know after Uhud, what did he do? After Uhud, Sayyidina Hamza died and all these, subhanallah, the Sahaba and Sayyidina Mus'ab and all these, and being in the all on the land and being have this mutilation and subhanallah. And he say, Stafu, ashkur Allah. So stand behind me. And he was not even able to stand. So I can make all the shukr to Allah, be grateful to Allah after Uhud. So always find that in our heart, inshallah, in our life about this number. And subhanallah, the لنا في سيدنا إبراهيم أسوة حسنة وفي سيدنا محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم قدوة حسنة شاكرا لأنعمه. We need to be grateful to Allah for what He has bestowed on us. The people, they've been ranked to, according to that whoever make the khudu' ila Allah, Allah will raise them. Whoever make the shukr of Allah, Allah will keep the ni'mah on them. Subhanallah. If you don't have the shukr of Allah, it will be taken away. And then you will think, subhanallah, I was all this time and all this, and I have my mother and all that, subhanallah. Now she's this. I have my father and this, and now she's gone. Now I have my son next to me, and now he traveled and went all the way this, subhanallah. You don't really know the ni'mah except when it's lost, subhanallah. So have the shukr of the ni'mah and have it in your heart so Allah, subhanallah, can continue with it and make taskhir for this for you. Subhanallah, we see from the Quran, I'm just going to connect this, subhanallah, in the Quran, what Allah is telling us, an example about what He was saying. الَّذِي خَلَقَنِي فَهُوَ يَهْدِينَ. The one who created me, and He is the one who can guide me. وَالَّذِي هُوَ يُطْعِمُنِي وَيَسْقِينَ. Subhanallah. He is the one who is feeding me, and He's the one giving me the suqya and all that. وَإِذَا مَرِضْتُ فَهُوَ يَشْفِينَ. Subhanallah. See the meaning of the tawheed, and see the meaning of آلاء الله. فبأي آلاء الله. Subhanallah. So He's meaning to say all the ni'am and an example, and came the Quran. That's what He was saying. وَإِذَا مَرِضْتُ فَهُوَ يَشْفِينَ وَالَّذِي يُمِيتُنِي ثُمَّ يُحْيِينَ. Tawheed and being grateful to Allah that you will be the one resurrecting me. والذي أطمع أن يغفر لي خطيئتي يوم الدين رب هب لي حكما وألحقني بالصالحين واجعل لي لسان صدق في الآخرين واجعلني من ورثة جنة النعيم. So all this dua connected with the gratefulness to Allah, and that's why from the discipline of the dua you have to show the gratitude to Allah before asking. You have to show the hamd to Allah before asking anything. And this is in Surah An-Najm, وَإِبْرَاهِيمَ الَّذِي وَفَّى. وَإِبْرَاهِيمَ الَّذِي وَفَّى. He has almost like Allah is saying, he paid his debt. Subhanallah. He made wafa for the ni'am that was given to him. He made wafa for all the testing that was given to him. He made wafa for sabr. He made wafa for the shukr. All these meanings, subhanallah. إِنَّ إِبْرَاهِيمَ كَانَ أُمَّةً قَانِتًا لِلَّهِ حَنِيفًا وَلَمْ يَكُنْ الْمُشْرِكِينَ شَاكِرًا لِأَنْعُمِهِ. In Surah An-Nahl, the surah that is talking about all the blessings that we have, but we never give thanks to it. May Allah make us from the best people that can learn from what they hear, inshallah, and retain that and benefit from it, inshallah. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. جزاكم الله خيرا إن شاء الله. وإياكم إن شاء الله.